Hello, you guys. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This is a live that we're doing in loving memory of Kyle Brennan. So, I wanted to start this live by reading a little bit of the history of Kyle Brennan. We've spoken to his mother, Victoria Britton, who has gracefully given us her blessing in sharing this information about Kyle and sharing with you some details, um, and just wanting to do right by his memory on pretty much the eve of his passing, although it happened on the 16th, but then the certificate said the 17th. So, anyways. So thank you so much for all of you holding space here. And this is in memory of Kyle Brennan. I apologize for the way I sound, you guys. It's been a rough day and I probably sound very congested. So all manner of allergy attacks and all that. So I appreciate in advance that you bear with us. In the ethereal embrace of memory, Kyle Brennan's spirit shines bright, illuminating the path of all who thread the fragile terrain of human vulnerability and resilience, which describes the plights of miners ensnared in Scientology hotels and commercial buildings. As he stepped into his first psychiatrist office on the winter of 2006, Kyle embarked on a journey of self discovery, a quest for healing and understanding amidst the shadows of doubt and despair. Little did he know that his path would intersect with the tumultuous currents of Scientology, and that would forever alter the course of his identity. 13 months later, on a somber February night, Kyle's journey reached its tragic conclusion, leaving behind a legacy etched in the annals of time, a testament to enduring power of love and courage and the unyielding pursuit of truth. Though his physical presence may have departed, Kyle's spirit remains a radiant beacon of hope, guiding us through the labyrinth of uncertainty and fear. In his honor, we rise, emboldened by the light of his legacy, to confront the darkness that threatens to engulf our souls and those of us unlike enough to have grown in the clutches of Scientology and the posse of their so-called executives. Kyle's story is not one of defeat, but of triumph, a testament to the indomitable spirit that resides within each of us, waiting to be unleashed in moments of trials and tribulations, unthinkable trials and unthinkable tribulations. In his memory, we embrace solace and draw inspiration and strength from the echoes of his laughter and the warmth of his embrace, one that was well known to his mother, Victoria. As we navigate the complexities of life, let us remember Kyle's unwavering resolve and his unwavering faith fighting against an untenable power dynamic that is definitely not suitable for any children. Together, we will continue forging ahead with courage and conviction, knowing that his spirit walks beside us, guiding us towards a future illuminated by transparency, accountability, and justice for all kids growing up in Scientology, that we were deserving of love, compassion, and more than anything, safety. In the gentle embrace of memory, Kyle's legacy lives on, a testament to the enduring power of love and the unyielding resilience of the human spirit. Thank you, Kyle, for flying and watching up from above. There are plenty of people that did not get to know you, but that do stand with you and your mom as we continue asking questions and demanding answers that make a shred of sense. We appreciate being with us today as we celebrate the power of your memory and the testament that your pain represents our very own same plight of those kids who grew up ensnared in Scientology. Rest in eternal power forever. So let's just hold a moment of silence for Kyle. You guys, let's all sit here in silence and think about what it means to depart this world defrauded, what it means to depart this world with all manner of lies spread about you, and a criminal investigation that was so-called conducted by the Clearwater Police that makes not a shred of sense, and of which they have not gone on the record to correct anything because they couldn't care any less. So thank you so much for joining us here in this your own moment of silence. Thank you. You are allowed to breathe and acknowledge the grief that we feel, that is only a manifestation of the love that we have inside of us. We are allowed to grieve the unthinkable loss of kids who grew up betrayed. Thank you. Um, I wanted to follow that with a little bit of Kyle's story. You guys, for those of you that don't know it, there is an entire blog which I invite all of you guys to check out. This is Kyle's mom, the truth about KyleBrennan.com. And this is Kyle's mom's blog where she has written about Kyle's story and what happened and the deception of Scientology and how all these things, OSA coming up, special affairs, OSA special affairs part 2. So in the name of religion, so there's a lot of comments, including the name of Miscavige, a Scientology knowledge report. So there's a lot of information already here about Kyle and OSA and all of this that's in this blog that I would love all of you guys to pour through and, let's all get together and start asking what in the literal hell the Clearwater Police report, lies of omission. So, yeah, let's actually dig into all of this information. Kyle Brennan's stolen property. I mean, imagine, do you guys, anybody's child to protect and serve the Clearwater Police Department. Judge Stephen D. Mary Day, fool me twice. Shame on the justice system. So here you have the judges who was really in charge of the investigation, Attorney Paul Johnson, Denise Miscavige, Gentile, Clearwater Police Report, information. When in danger, distance yourself, the Miscavige Brennan friendship. I mean, this is a lot. A weapon of bullet and lies, a bullet list of lies, contradictory statements, hide and seek from Clearwater to Craigslist. Weapon information affidavit of Sean Brennan, Scientology and ethics, Kyle Brennan. I mean, this is a, I mean, look, Kyle Brennan from 1987 to 2007, you guys, this is a 20-year-old kid. 20-year-old kid. Oh, look here, the so-called priest-penitent privilege. So-called, you guys. I would know. I was part of that audit supposed unit. Oh, yeah, let's really have a lot of privilege, even though everybody was reading all of this information. You guys don't think that this was not being read by people. So there's a lot of info that his mom has poured her heart out. I mean, imagine being the mother that has to compile a website of your child because nobody gave a shred of a literal F. And nobody has provided her with any answers that make a shred of sense. Everything was swept under the rug, and better luck next lifetime for her as well. She wasn't even in Scientology herself, you guys. It was Kyle's dad. Imagine that deadbeat dad. So, in a nutshell, when Kyle Brennan first entered his first psychiatrist's office in 2006, Little did he know that his journey would be tragically concluding 13 months later, estranged from his father and entangled in the shadows of Scientology. The night of February 17, 2007 marked the somber end of Kyle's life as he was found in his father's Clearwater, Florida apartment, succumbing to a GUN shot besides a Taurus .357 Magnum revolver. Despite the swift declaration of by the Clearwater police, the scant investigation left unanswered questions lingering in the air. The hasty conclusion left uncertainty shrouding the events of that fateful night, unable to ascertain the truth of what truly transpired. How had Kyle, once a vibrant young man, become ensnared in the intricate web of Scientology's so-called disdain for psychiatry within a mere 13 months? He sought help from a psychiatrist, grappling with mild depression and anxiety, finding solace in the medication like Lexapro. Yet in Scientology, such actions were deemed heretical, so-called heretical. So-called heretical. You guys, in what world does a 2-week course from a convicted felon really stand to counteract actual doctors that went to actual medical school to be able to prescribe? And yes, there's a pendulum swing. And yes, drugs have been known to be overly prescribed and overused and blah, 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 blah. Sure. But that doesn't mean that every single prescription that has ever been prescribed is that. And that's what Scientology was liking us to believe. So it's in that way, that extreme view of twisting of the facts, twisting of a narrative, so that they could sell their own version of their quackery, that no one had to complete any type of real certification. Excuse me. So that's what we're demanding answers about. In the realm of Scientology, such actions were deemed not okay, branding Kyle as an enemy, a suppressive person, for daring to go to a doctor. Thus, when Kyle Venture did go to Clearwater to be with his father, the conflict brewed. His presence, a thorn in the side of Scientology's rigid AF rules. Tom Brennan, a so-called devout Scientologist, a paid member of those hotels, faced a dilemma with a son that was so-called violating a creed. In Scientology's so-called eyes, the situation demanded a resolution. Urgent directives flowed from the upper echelons, instructing Tom to, quote, handle. That was the word that was used, you guys. Go handle that father. Go handle that mother. Go handle that child. Handle it with what? With the rhetoric found in a book by a convicted felon. What does it say in there, in that book that he did write for himself? Oh, look, it says, don't ever let anyone take a drug from a psychiatrist, because you know what? Then our technology will not work whatsoever. I said technology. I didn't say theology. I said technology. We weren't basing anything that we were doing inside of those hotels with any sort of theology interpretation. It was all tech technology. You applied step 1, you applied step 2, and you applied step 3 to everyone. It didn't matter who you were, it didn't matter how old you were, it didn't even matter. You apply the technology and you do step 1, 2, and 3. Where's the critical thinking? Nowhere. Where's the, sir, I don't think so? Nowhere. You cannot say no inside of those hotels. You get told. It's very much giving LAPD, you guys. Like, they just get told, do this, and then they just go and do it. Like complete robot dolls. So that's kind of like same shit, different air freshener situation. Handling is a term, the euphemism, laced with sinister connotations, bringing about sanctioned actions that veered far from benevolence. It's all pitched. This is going to be very benevolent for you guys. Oh, we really care about you. We wouldn't want you to take a drug. We wouldn't want you to have a doctor examine your mental health, because Scientology does the modern science of mental health. But I thought you said you were a church. So why are you operating a hotel that you say is a church that's the modern science of mental health? How are those 3 statements in any way, shape, or form reality? Because I would like to really dare anybody that can make those 3 statements of fact make sense right now. Just those 3 things. And then you know what? If that makes sense, then you know what? All our other questions are worthless. The playbook allowed coercion, manipulation, and even destruction in the name of preserving the purity of their so-called beliefs. Oh yeah, we really want to conserve the purity of whatever in the hell the convicted felon said. God forbid we think for ourselves inside of this hotel. God forbid. I mean, if you were asking for a religious phrase to use, that would be right about now the only phrase we would use, you guys. God forbid you do use your common sense. If the book said don't use common sense, guess what these people did? Yeah. Not use common sense. Right, Mike Rinder, or wrong? Were you full of common sense back in the day? Where's your common sense today? That would be really great for us to start understanding. Where is your common sense today? Yes, once upon a time you were in a hole. Yes, once upon a time you were real stupid. Yes, once upon a time you really thought L. Ron Hubbard was going to save a world. So today is the year 2024. So now make things make sense in this year with that same level of intelligence and typing skills that you always have for yourself. I'm gonna write another thing and I'm gonna write another thing. Explain to us all the things that make no sense about Kyle Brennan. And you know what? There's a whole blog for you to start just going through line by line. Tell us, okay, this could have been this could have been that, you guys. This is when we were doing this kind of op. If the parent wasn't a Scientologist, then this is how we did it so that they, could not be asking more questions because we didn't like being asked questions. That's all we're asking for. Get on the record. You are the board member of a nonprofit that really wants to help save a world from people being ensnared in, including but not limited to, unthinkable cover-ups that right about now we're finding very hard to believe that you have no clue, no shred of clue on anything, because that's all that's in your public record. You regurgitate only what's already been stated. In what world you think regurgitating everything that's already been stated, Mike Rinder, is the definition of you having a shred of accountability? Because with a straight face, you should really start typing that next blog for yourself. And if you have the facts on your side, then it should be so easy to just go type, type, type. This is the reason that Kyle Brennan is gone. And this is what Osa would have been doing. This is what you would have been doing if you were there listening to that flap. It's a flap when something like this happened, Mike Rinder. Do not tell us that a kid ending up with a GUN literally no longer on earth when Denise Miscavige, David's little twin sister, was all about auditing that family. In what world is Denise, David's literal sister, the auditor of this Kyle, and she didn't commit out tech? That's what you guys were calling it, right? Oh, out tech. Something went wrong, because if everything is done so perfectly and standardly according to what a convicted, indicted felon did right, then everything's going to be amazing. And everyone's going to have so many wins, and the technology is going to work so well. That was the pitch. That was your mindset when you were there doing that pro bono PR crisis management for this 501c that you were some sort of board member of as well. Right? Because that's all you've ever done in your life. Be part of boards, being a board member of this and a board member of that, except for your little tiny stint as a used car salesman. So you didn't like that, but you do love for yourself being named in boards to really want to save a world. Or start saving it. You really do pitch in your blog. Something can be done about it, and yet you do nothing about it. You do nothing about it but regurgitate everything that's on the public record. We don't give a shred of an F of what's already on the public record, Mike Rinder. Write down what we don't know. Stop insulting the intelligence of everyone that saw you shit your pants in public, and now you want to tell us that we didn't see it and that we're not smelling it. We're not children. We're not children that you can just gaslight and really type something stupid, and then everyone's just going to buy your BS. We're not here to buy anything. We're here to get answers to the questions that y'all used to ask with a full straight face as a religious right that you did say you had for yourself. So you never allowed a single lawyer present when we were getting interrogated as children. Well, now you get to take questions without a single lawyer present having to be for you. In what world are you purporting to be so special, adult grown-ass man that you are, since you did with a straight face pitch to the IRS that these interrogations that your daddy figure did right for himself were going to be of extremely religious experiences for kids? So make that make sense right this second. Don't wait another single minute. The more you wait, the more you know you're full of literal, you know exactly what in the hell we mean. It's you who shat your pants. You did this to yourself. No one did it for you. No one did it to you. You've been at the helm of the supposed really gonna figure it out, how to really do something about it. And yet, where's the product of you doing anything about it if those hotels are still raging at full speed, getting away with everything you did when you were there? In what world have they reined back, Mike Rinder? In what literal world? Because if you didn't catch the last live, if you're too hoity-toity to ever listen to anything, because you don't want to be told you're wrong in any way, shape, or form, God forbid you are told that you are wrong. Well, start listening and stop trying to pretend you're some sort of snobbery man that can just snub it all up because, oh, who cares? We're just the fleece. Listen to what you're being asked. And if you really do want to help save a world and really do want to be in Child USA board, then show with actions that you give a shred of an F about kids, not with blabbing on your post about regurgitated stuff that's already easily found on the public record. And it's a short story, always with you, telling part of a withhold, but not the rest. Misdirecting everyone that talks to you because you talk circles around them because no one can pull a string with you because you purport to be Mr. Know-it-all and I really know what in the hell I'm talking about, and posture, 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 and posture, and posture again. You're still doing L. Ron Hubbard's goddamn PR. Pro fucking bono. Make yourself make sense already. You are old enough. You shouldn't have to be needing to be handheld and, oh, come over here. You're too intelligent to be playing dumb is what your problem is. You're way too intelligent to be playing dumb. The tragic tale of Kyle Brennan serves as a sombering reminder of the insidious nature of extremist beliefs and the devastating toll they can exact on kids ensnared within their grasp. In a world where love and common sense should triumph over doctrine, Kyle's story stands as a poignant testament to the dangers of fanaticism and the imperative of safeguarding children's anatomy with compassion. So that is what we are holding space for. In what world did anyone inside of the hotels had the certificates to override a medical prescription, something that was standard operating procedure, as if that's literally not what they called it? Laura, love you so much. Love for you and Kyle. Thank you, Laura. Thank you for standing outside LAPD as we speak, advocating for more people ensnared in this horrific scheme. Thank you for your work as well. So much. Urge people to read the Kyle Mother's website. I believe someone did post that on one of the mods. So thank you so much, mods, for posting the website. And yes, you guys, send your questions to the website. Put your questions. Every single blog post has questions. There's comments that you can leave. And it's like, you make your comments, you ask the questions that out of reading the information go, okay, so what do I not get about what I just read? What do I need more information about? How can I get more educated to advocate? So we're not just here for the purpose of, of trauma dumping and going with you, oh, and this one was so horrible and that was so horrible. Like, everything is horrible. There's so much dysfunction going on. There's literally an end of endless pit of dysfunction as these policies of L. Ron Hubbard get applied without a shred of critical thinking. Believe you me, all end users end up ensnared and in a very bad position. It's not working out for nobody, even the ones that think it's working out for them. Well, you know what? It isn't. And people on the outside can advocate for you. Believe it or not, you might not want to hear it, but we're still allowed to say it's not a good idea. Someone start ringing the alarm already. Somebody really start having serious conversations from people that they are going to be willing to hear it from. Literally anybody at this point, anybody that is willing to have those conversations with those people so that they can stop pretending that being compromised and saying that, because we heard this and responded this to a comment that was left, you guys, and I think this is actually the perfect time to bring it up. But the comment was that, oh yes, I was brainwashed in a cult. So that's the reason, basically, that's the reason that I did what I did. It's like, oh, I didn't know. I was just brainwashed, at the time, brainwashed. Claiming that one was brainwashed as a defense, as a literal legal defense, is a desperate attempt to evade accountability and responsibility for one's actions. It's a feeble excuse akin to try to blame external influences for personal choices and behaviors. Personal choices. Adults do make personal choices. Now, is there a way for an advocate that gets paid to advocate for these people to weigh in the fraud contained in the books and how much that fraud influenced those people, adults, to make choices? Sure. No one's saying that they don't have the right to advocate for themselves and secure a legal defense that makes a shred of sense. But to just go willy-nilly, oh, I should get a pass on everything because wasn't I so brainwashed? The legal system is not a platform for absolving individuals of their actions by blaming some imaginary manipulation. And yes, it's called imaginary because the fact is those books of L. Ron Hubbard were literally role-played to the letter. And claiming that everything was just an imaginary thing and that's why I'm here where I am. It's like there's a lot more than meets the eye. There's a lot more that needs to be confronted. What was in those books? What did you do? What are you repudiating? And how are you actually going to effectively repudiate it? Not just claim you were the victim. That's so easy. Oops, I was victim. It's not enough. It's not enough to just say, I was a victim, so therefore I deserve a pass. It's called you were a victim and you were also part of the problem. So by all means, figure out what you really need to do for yourself. Nobody needs to tell you, you're full-grown adult. Go do whatever in the hell it is that you need to go and do. It is an insult to the intelligence of the courts and a disservice to the victims of the crimes committed using brainwashing as a defense. Not only lacks legal merit, but it also undermines the principles of justice and personal accountability. That's what it's called. Personal accountability. Brainwashing is, I wasn't responsible for my adult choices. Now, once again, can a legal expert weigh in and contextualize all the matter of things that need to be advocated for that person? Sure, do that. By all means, pay somebody to do that for you. The kids that got involved with the problem should not be the ones that also have to now sort out how that was all a problem for all of our parents and all of the adults that were all about this wide-ranging criminal racketeering conspiracy, that they were all in on it. Pretending and saying that all it happened was because you were brainwashed is a pathetic. It's pathetic and transparent ploy that holds no weight in the eyes of the law. It's called stop playing dumb. Stop playing dumb. Sober the F up. Yes, what was done is unthinkable. The scale of it, unconfrontable. And yes, if y'all were in such undue influence, by all means, go and make that case. As a collective, go and do it. All Scientology parents, go and do the case already. Make that case. Tell somebody that you didn't deserve to be blamed for supporting a child trafficking operation because you really did think that you were in a church. But what is on the record, you guys, is people playing wishy-washy. And wishy-washy is not accountability. Wishy-washy is not taking a shred of responsibility. Wishy-washy does nothing to stop the wheel of abuse. Let's just put it that way. If it did, if all it would require for this to end is a bunch of wishy-washy explanations, and you know what? That would be great. That would be great because then, it will all be done and it'll all not be a problem whatsoever. Not a shred of a problem whatsoever. Thank you, Marilyn. Remembering Kyle Brennan. Remembering him on this eve where the Clearwater police did show up, and y'all go through the blog. Y'all go through the blog yourselves and then leave your questions in the blog. Leave your questions underneath this video for all of you on the replay crew. I know there's a lot going on tonight. So all of you who are here sharing space for this message, I really want to thank you. And we do have to continue moving forward. We do have to continue advocating for all of those who are not here. And I'm actually getting a message from somebody that's going to join. Hold on one second, you guys. This is a surprise. So let's see. Thank you, Jay King, for your super sticker as well. I really appreciate all of you guys and your support, all of you. So while this surprise person is joining us, you guys, let's see if there's any other questions here. Hi, Cajun. Hi, General Boa. Hi, Loved. Hi, Lara. Hi, Lauren. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jane. Cass, 1954. Wonderful. Great to know. Bunny Melon. Thank you, Marty Girl. Thank you for holding space and listening. It is. Thank you, Panko. Thank you for sharing this horrific set of facts about this young man. Thank you so much. His mother will appreciate your kind prayers, you guys. Thank you so much. Agreed. Thank you, Granda, for truth. Thank you, Sharon. We appreciate yourself as well. Thank you, Casey. That's exactly right. All of this disregard for medical advice is just simply not protected, you guys. In what world can someone that was inside of a hotel override actual medical doctors? That's what's being questioned right now on the public record. In what world? Okay, hold on, guys. I'm gonna send the link to this person here. The surprise visitor. Let me see. Oh, here. Almost done. Sorry, but you guys will be glad for the wait. It'll be worth your while, trust. Okay. So they'll be joining us shortly. Um, and I don't know if you guys can guess, but what are you guys thinking? Why was the story not on the show, Naomi? They didn't want to cover anything of that nature. And again, it was their show. It was their show, but it does suck. And that's why we're in a new era where we all get to hold space because we're not doing this for show. Hold on, you guys. I'm just trying to see without blowing the cover yet. Something's technology, right? I mean, imagine you, Naomi. And that's so incredible to hear, right? Because it's like you've read the books, you've watched the channels, and yeah, very few things were ever said about this exact, very mysterious, horrible situation, to be honest. So I'm glad that, y'all will be able to read what his mom has put together for herself because she has had no advocates or people actually asking or caring, and that's what's so unthinkable to be feeling so stuck by the death of a kid that you didn't even choose to put him in that situation. It's like she wasn't a Scientology mother. She was up against one of these Scientology deadbeat dads that act with so much confidence that what they're saying is so perfect and cannot be questioned. And it's like, that's not good. That's not good. It's unthinkable. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate your words. Definitely. Thank you, Crystal. Never a too much reminder of taking care of your own mental health and that this can be a lot. There's, a lot of us that have suffered losses and, bringing up these type of losses can make us get triggered into that type of loss. So hopefully, we're able to hold space, but you're always invited to hold space from afar too, because that's support as well. You guys, like, it's very supported to have even the support from far and away. It's okay. Very good point. Love it. Literally, case in the house. It didn't take us decades. Rico, Rico, Rico. That's that's what it's called. Racketeering enterprise. Let me see if this person's coming, you guys. I'm gonna call her. Oh, hold on. All right, you guys. We'll see if the surprise visitor is gonna surprise us. They are trying their best. Did I get my sound fixed? I think so. I haven't done my live on my phone yet, you guys, but we'll see. Think so. Thank you, Kirswalski. Thank you for racing, and hopefully this is the last generation that cops this abuse. Lisa McPherson to Kyle Brennan, R.I.P. Thank you so much for that. And yes, both of them passed in this literal month, you guys, the month of February. Thank you, philosophy. I will take that on. I love manuka honey, and I really need some manuka honey right now. It's definitely been a lot. Question: since you were trafficked by sign, did you become a U.S. citizen from being from Mexico? Well, I'm married to an American citizen, and prior to that, I already had a green card because my mother was an American citizen, and they used her citizen to ask about us or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it all worked out, but my visa was handled with the oversight of Scientology, but because my mother was an American citizen and my grandmother was American citizens, there was some sort of way that they were able to ask for me to become an American citizen due to my mother. So it wasn't just Scientology, but there's a lot of different, shenanigans that get done with the visas, you guys. So just keep that in mind. Signal jammers. Yeah, I you can't put it past these people, you guys, and you can't put anything past them. So we have to just outsmart them and respond intelligently. All right, you guys, let me see if our guest was able to figure it out. It seems like they didn't, you guys, which is totally fine because I think this might be a good time to end off blowing this candle of power for Kyle Brennan with all of you supporting. Oh, see, just as I was about to blow this. All right, you guys, here comes our guest, and we are going to end up shortly, but I did want to bring her up and chat a little bit. So without further ado, here is our secret special guest, Ms. Dianetics herself.
Oh,
Dianetics. Dianetics. So are you a mixture of Dianetics with ethics, or why is it Dianetics?
oh goodness. Oh, I guess we're not blown for good, but we're blown, but not for good. Can you hear me okay?
I'm hearing an echo. Are you?
Wait, we're blown, but not for good. Can you hear
Yeah, like I
me?
hear something in the background. Is that you?
I think it might actually be the TV. Yeah, it's something with this StreamYard, and I'm trying. Yeah, let me turn. Might actually be. You know what is so weird? Like you said, it was like this jam thing. There's something with signal. Okay, it should be gone. I hope.
Let's see. Can you guys? Yeah, you guys can hear a huge echo, right? And let's see. I'm not hearing the echo right now, so try
All right, I
now.
might. Is this better?
Yes, I believe so. Are you guys
Oh,
hearing an echo, or are you hearing us okay? I think I don't hear it anymore, so
all right. No, I'm so sorry about that. It was the Signal app that I have, and it just was
so
causing
good.
a scam thing. But I'm so here. I'm glad I'm here because I know you were about to leave, and I'm like, oh my God, just in the nick of time. So thank
Yes.
you for reading around. And it's an important subject matter. And um, thank you for being a powerful speaker because Victoria Britain's, you know, everything with Kyle Brennan, it used to be a very prolific subject matter that a lot of people cared about, and then everything, it's just so weird. There's so many dirty politics that are in the, as you know, the ex-Scientology community. I shouldn't call it like as Miriam said, you know, when she's like, I don't agree with that word, and I'm trying to stop myself from saying that. I like to say the ex-Scientology movement. I think that's better fitting, um, because there are so many like nefarious acts and people just that just they're not in this for like the real cause and what you're in it for the children. I'm in it for the children because of like what I've been through myself. And having met Victoria Britton and knowing what happened with her son, it's not about like Scientology, like, oh, Scientology is behind this. It's behind the policies of Scientology, especially with like psych, as they call it, psych meds, um, mental health, ultimately Scientology wanting to take over the whole mental health field on the planet. I think that was L. Ron Hubbard's ultimate goal, as you know, like to replace psychiatry with Dianetics and Scientology. And
Well, and let's
unfortunately,
not forget to always keep mentioning that it was also because they didn't want any mandated reporters with any victims that they were abusing. Because again, therapy would have not worked if you were going and seeing an auditor and then going seeing a therapist and telling your therapist what was just going on in your audit sessions, which was forbidden. I mean, again, you guys, we have to really kind of like blow the whistle on that fact. In what world are children being locked up against their will and being told that they're building a case and don't talk about it with anybody? You're not allowed to talk about it with anybody. Not even your own parents. Not even your own parents, you're supposed to tell them. That's supposed to be between you and the case supervisor. So right away, they already start creating all of these inappropriate breakdowns between a child's normal, natural pathway to have advocates for themselves. Your parents are supposed to be your biggest advocate because you're their child. These adults that abused us, I mean, yeah, they abused us. We weren't their child. So who cares? For them, it was just like, Who cares? These children are fair game. Their parents already said that we could abuse them. Like, what's going to be the problem?
Exactly.
You
Oh,
know?
oh, now I hear you. I think there's a little delay on the phone, but no, everything you said is perfect, and I'm so glad that you're bringing this up because a lot of kids that have passed away, and these are just the ones that we know about, you know, like Kyle, and for instance, my nephew, and I'm someone that's really not like that. And when I look at like stories about myself, and I did technically grow up in a public Scientology upbringing. I wasn't allowed into the Sea Org because I did LSD at a very young age. But I'm like, there's so many others. I'm like, okay, if I'm the one that went through this, how many others are there? And for example, Tyler, my nephew who passed away, he has a surviving older brother and sister that were involved in this house fire. And my half sister, the mother that was the ED of the org, they are the survivors of this, and they don't want to speak. They have no desire. They actually think I'm crazy. They're like, Aunt Marisa, why are you always doing this stuff? And but they, and they went through worse than I did, but their way of dealing with their trauma is, my niece got into hardcore bodybuilding. She's a firefighter now, which I think is awesome because it's very hard to accomplish that as a female. She's a medic, like a firefighter medic, and she did it because of her brother, Tyler. I think that's her way of dealing with like her trauma. And it's almost like they blocked out a lot of the Scientology things. And I'm like, if that's their way of dealing with it, there has to be so thousands of other second gens like them that are not even speaking out. It kind of blows my mind sometimes because you and I are the ones speaking out, and of course others, but there's a lot like my older nephew and niece that their stories will blow your mind, and they just
And
don't.
that's why we're having these conversations, you guys, because again, it's like so many kids that have passed away literally in the confines of all of this dysfunction, and they didn't get a fair shot for themselves. And in what world is okay, well, thoughts and prayers. And it's like, what thoughts and prayers do? What? Nothing. Nothing to their memory. Nothing to the fact that, the alarms have not been sounded for what, in what world not? Why was their pain not enough? Why was one child death too many? Why? These weren't freak accidents. These weren't just like something happened and then nobody had a shred of a clue. In Kyle's case, it was, them interfering with, literal doctor's orders, and then them coming at him, degrading him in horrible ways, telling him he's a suppressive and that he's, going to the suppressive side and whatever. All he did, the crime he committed was going to a doctor. Imagine that. And then in the case of Marissa's nephew, like the reckless negligence of kids being neglected at home right before Christmas with literal fire exploding their house because there was a little heater that they were using and that caught fire, and then the whole sofa caught fire, and then before you know it, a 6-year-old kid didn't make it out. And where was the mother? Oh, saving a world. Like, come on. Come on. Like, that's so unthinkable. And what world was a 6-year-old without the mother to at least try and help bring her kids to safety if something like that happened? Because he didn't make it out. And I mean, again, Melissa, it's like it's not the same story, but it's like all of these stories of all these kids that have been buried. Where's been the outrage over these things happening? And we're gonna get into the weeds of that, you guys. We're gonna get into the weeds. Marissa and I are gonna actually get into the actual weeds of that, and not in this exact segment, but we did want to talk about that because the fact is that there's many kids that have been lost by these people that continue to be given the full benefit of the doubt, and apparently everything is legal and apparently everything is great and wonderful. Excuse me. And you know what? It's like we beg to differ.
I've actually offered recently, um, I honestly have said I am willing to use my nephew as an example for anyone that would come forward, whether it's Mike Render, whoever, to come because he passed away 20 years ago. So,
Well,
Mike
and that's why
Render,
it's gonna be. We're gonna break it down because whether it was Mike Rinder or Chris Shelton or whoever in the hell it was that was overseeing this and that knows and that has information, it's like, come forward with that information. Why are you holding it onto it? Like, in what world is that helpful to anybody? If
that's
crimes
what
were continuously and continuously systemically covered up, then out yourselves, repudiate what in the hell you were doing that was disgusting, call it out so that they're not getting away with doing it still today. That's why it matters. It doesn't matter for any other reason. It literally doesn't matter for any other reason. It's just like, call out what you did so that other people are warned not to be doing that. And you do
it,
have to raise the alarm on yourselves. Like, no one can come and raise it for you. You were the ones that were in that office ordering things, cleaning up things in ways that were not legal. And it's like, fine, tell the people that you thought it was when you did it. I don't care. We don't care. It's just the transparency is nowhere to be found. And without the transparency, there are no guardrails put up in place so that this doesn't continue to just happen to another child that has been recklessly neglected. And, your nephew didn't deserve that, Marissa. It's really that simple.
no, I agree with you, Serge. And so that's why, oh, I think your voice went out.
No,
Can you hear
no,
me?
I'm here.
Oh, you
I'm holding
again.
space for you now.
Stupid. It's that stupid delay that's going on my end, probably. But Um, yeah, I have said, I'm like, hey, whoever you are, I'm not gonna, of course deep down inside, I probably will hold it against them, but it's like, hey, man, you're not gonna go to prison. Nothing's gonna happen to you, but at least for educational purposes, Mike Render, Chris Shelton, whoever, just describe what happens. Like, who told my sister to stay at the org 18 hours a day, 7 days a week? Who sent Osa to my house from LA? Like, give this as like an educational lecture to teach me and everyone else is like how Scientology really works. And nobody has yet to do that. And up to this time, like I say, we've just been fed a bunch of romantic Daniel Steele novels about Scientology and what's happening. Like,
Daniel.
to it,
I'm sorry to laugh. You're just Daniel Steele.
true though. Like, it's
Oh.
obvious.
It's like this one, like, what in the literal hell are we reading a romantic novel when it was like Steven Spielberg on crack and steroids? I mean, even Spielberg wasn't that twisted, and his monster it is literally, a joke compared to what these, you know, crazy asses were doing in real life. I mean, at least Steven Spielberg was all BS, but our clowns were not BS. Our clowns actually did a work, did a job, acted very confident.
That's why people like you, honestly, you have been amazing. Oh, it looks like you're talking. I could see you in the TV. So if I'm interrupting you, I don't mean to. I'm so sorry. But you are like what's needed because um yeah, it has not happened before. And to everyone that's getting mad at us, oh, no, to people that are just like, oh my God, the whole thing with Miriam and I was honestly disgusted, like the way that he talked about the whole thing with Miriam and then his emails and then he's just like, oh, are you trying to implicate me? And that's like not even members of the Italian mafia are that sloppy and stupid. their wording and verbiage about
Well, and I'm
things.
glad you just brought that up because not even members of organized crime, you guys, like when people understand that children are being hurt as part of the organized crime, guess what? That goes to the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of even in their criminal ranks, the ones that abuse kids, the ones that traffic kids, the ones that cover up things for kids, the ones that enslave kids, even the most organized of criminals in literal prison treat those at the very bottom of the barrel. And in what world are they not being treated like that today? They're all being treated like, well, you were just brainwashed. Oh, you were just ill informed. Well, you know what? The ill information ended up in very real repercussions, such as Marissa's literal nephew burned alive inside a house, and the mother was nowhere to be found. It's very much given what happened to me, Marissa. I mean, I ended up in a hospital from having drank so much pain thinner at age 5. What in the literal hell was I doing drinking pain thinner at 5 years old? Enough to land at a hospital and enough for my mother to finally freak out and come into her senses. I'm like, oh no, I am being neglectful. I need to get the F out of here. And I did get them out. But then they just
That's
brought themselves back to the thing like a few years later. Like they could not help themselves. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, I'm a miracle. I survived that situation where I shouldn't have maybe survived it. And I kept surviving. And it's God, the universe, whatever we were going to call it, has had my back enough to be here. How many decades later to be calling it all out and being like, no, I'm sorry, you're all are out of your minds. And it doesn't matter that you don't like being told that you're out of your mind. This is not us are better than you. That's the way they see the world for themselves, you guys. Oh, you're not better than us. We're not better than you. We don't give an F about being better than nothing. We're just sick and tired of all of these abuses being covered up at the expense of kids who didn't deserve that. And that is a common sense appeal that we're trying to make. An
and
appeal.
this story is important because it gets into like, Victoria Britain was not an ex-Scientologist. And it gets into the whole like just the danger of what Scientology preaches against psychiatry and mental health. They don't believe in mental health at all. And her son ultimately was a victim of that extreme belief, which I have seen many, many times, where they took Kyle's medication from him. You can't just do that. You can't just take like a SSRI and be like, nope, not getting this anymore. And here's some salts and lecithin granules and, you know, whatever. It's horrible what happened to Kyle. And, Victoria's story is very, very important with ultimately what happened to Kyle and the magnitude of what she dealt with. And, a lot of people don't understand, or they don't even know that David Miscavige has a twin sister. I didn't even know that until I met Victoria. you know,
Yeah,
Denise, can you imagine a twin sister? David Miscavige has a twin sister. That's crazy. I don't know. Have you ever met her? You probably have.
I did. She was a student in those course rooms, and we were told to treat her very special because she's COB's, you know, sister, and blah blah blah, and she's a VIP, and all of this, posturing and BS that was going on at these hotels. And again, it's like, why? Why did she get access to Kyle? She completed a 2-week course inside of a hotel, and then what? Now she was the auditor. Now she was the person that was really wanting to have professional opinions about Kyle and what he should be on and what shouldn't be on. And it's also all the toxic shame that went with being labeled something so disgusting from taking a drug, because it's like how they stigmatized it. I mean, they made him feel like he had done something wrong, like he was disgusting for even trying it. And it's like, I mean, it's just and it's all under these very suspicious conditions too. It's like, why does the investigation not make sense? Even if somebody did off themselves. I mean, in my family, Marissa, one of my aunts ended up doing that. She got kicked out of Scientology, and she was the only one that had actual um, schooling and an actual successful multi-million dollar business that was not a scam like everyone else in my family that was just like in Scientology scamming. But anyway, she got kicked out, and then she ended up, turning the car on in a garage and just like, offing herself. And she left a note in her case. Osa didn't come and clean it because she was already out of the thing. So she didn't make the news. But in her note, she talked about how painful it was for her to have been, you know, declared suppressive, and then everyone cut her off in the family. I mean, I'm of a different opinion now. I don't give an F about having been cut off because now I understand who they are, and I have no desire of being anywhere near associated with them. But it's so hard to get to that stage where you can reconcile the receipts enough to understand the level of betrayal trauma that you had to reconcile with to be okay with cutting the cord, to being like, no, this all didn't make any sense. Like, my Pedro Gil and Sandra Gil are gone for me.
Or
I'm
I
not
didn't know.
looking to rekindle a relationship. I'm not looking to do what? To rekindle a relationship with who? With the people that put me in harm's way time and time and time again, like time and time and time again, knew, didn't care. Like, why are people in this whole train? Let's stop the disconnection. Like, the only reason I'm still here speaking is because I got disconnected from all those people. If I was still connected, I would probably not be here. Kyle, if he could have just really peacefully disconnected from his father, because his father was obviously not somebody that was going to put him in not harm's way, put him in literally, oh, go here, go have the twin sister of David Miscavige really
And
weigh in on your medications and everything else that was going on. I mean, that's again getting into the surface of the details, you guys, but there's so much info on Kyle's mom's website, and we'll continue to pick it apart. And it's important for people to ask questions. We're in an era where asking questions is allowed, so ask as many questions as you can. Oops, the light literally went off. This is my cue. Look at this. Marissa.
it's frozen. Can you?
It's literally no, I'm gone. I'm gone. My lights are off and no one's home.
Oh,
Okay, you guys. Thank you
oh,
so
good.
much
Can you still
for
talk a
holding
little?
space with us tonight. Huh?
Can you still talk for like 5 more minutes?
No, we're gonna end the live now.
Oh, because I had. Oh my goodness. Okay. All
What
right. Because
what
I have a lot
oh no,
of stuff to.
what do you wanna share? You had something you wanted to share?
Um. Yeah, no, I was telling you, like, just like the way how you're going through a lot of things with the LAPD right now, and everything that Victoria went through with the police corruption regarding Kyle. And that's why it might look like I'm looking away, because I have to like I have to write notes down so I make sure that I don't like forget everything. But she dealt with a lot of police corruption and the police lying. And I've dealt through this. I think it's just police in general, no matter where you live. Um, the detective was saying one thing and the cops were like saying another thing. The cops were like, oh, yeah, we did do this. And then the detective was like, it was just like a huge mess. And this is in Florida, Clearwater, and
Right.
they never found the bullet, with what happened with Kyle. And it's crazy. Like her story is actually very, very fascinating and in depth. Fascinating, not in a good way, because it's absolutely horrible what happened, but it's about like Scientology. And that's the one thing, as a child growing up in Scientology, even though I knew Scientology was like weird, and I always knew L. Ron Hubbard was batshit nuts. but that's the one thing they got me with as a child was the psychiatry is evil and the meds are going to kill us all. And that's the one thing as a kid that like that actually freaked me out. And I did believe that as a child, and it really scared
Oh
me.
yeah, they were controlling us with fear, these fear mongering tactics that were just based on misinformation, you guys. Because I mean, again, yes, we're not saying that not every psychiatrist should be over prescribing. Are there examples of that? Yes, there's examples of everything in the world. But it's misinformation campaigns leading to complete extremist beliefs that children are being like subjected to. Had that father been like, okay, well, let's, I'm not seeing, I don't like what I'm seeing here. Let's go to another psychiatrist. Let's get a second opinion. All of that is allowed, but not just go give go get David Miscavige's twin sister to start now what? Giving it medical advice, advising, helping. She's going to really help with depression by what? By locking up a child, an underage. I mean, I think Kyle was 20, up to 20, but he went through a lot of other things that were very indoctrinational. His father was speaking to him already in Scientologies. And once they teach the kids that language, you guys, it's sick because now you're fully groomed to be abused and you can't smell it. You literally cannot smell it. Just as much as I don't have any sense of smell right now because I have such crazy allergies, like that's what you end up with in there, literally.
Oh my gosh. No, that is that. You notice how there's like a delay though? Like I'm saying things and I'm looking and then it's like 10 seconds later that's it's off. But I could tell you have like a sinus infection or something going on. Your PTS surge. I'm kidding.
I'm PTS, you guys, but you know what? I'm not roller coastering, so that's the good news. So, I think I saw a couple of other questions here. Shauna Williams, um, thank you, Shauna. I'm curious. Do you think Scientology will ever be shut down officially? Well, we don't. I don't know. I would say no comment on whether it would all be shut down officially. All I know is that minors cannot go in there, and that's the first thing that we're starting with. Like we're advocating for that no minors get exposed to the scourge of these horrible policies that are things that no minors should be exposed to. And let's start with that. If other people want to be going and doing that, they can have their conversations with the FBI or whatever else agency is going to be make sure that the laws are upheld and not just circumvented because they go into a hotel and then all of a sudden they're, able to commit felonies that everyone's going to play dumb about. So we can't allow for lawlessness to happen in a hotel and then everybody pretend that it's a religious activity. Like, so everything that Owen Hubbard wrote needs to really be questioned. Just like anything else. I mean, no one just gets a pass and it's like, oh no, don't ever question anything. I mean, when people start telling you not to question, that's when they're controlling the narrative. Because I mean, as humans, that's the power we do possess is discernment and intelligence. And in what world is asking questions that make a shred of sense not allowed? Like, that's weird.
I know it's a tough spot. I think that our government really screwed up when they gave Scientology religious exemption. I don't think people realize the severity of that, because I try to explain to people all the time. I'm like, hey, in the eyes of our government, Scientology is the same as Judaism, Islam, Christianity, and
Yeah, but you
it's
know what Mary said? Like, that's like so 2000 and late. In the eyes of our government, y'all have access to Google. So start Googling. Start Googling for yourselves law enforcement departments. Stop saying that it's so complicated and they're just like this. They're all a bunch of false equivalents. Learn what this is because there's plenty of information now in the public record. We're all coming to the public record trying to sound the alarm, trying to say, yo, this wasn't a good idea. Stop it. And it is up to law enforcement to stop it. We can squeal and yell in a corner of a street. That's all we're allowed to do. We're unallowed to do anything else. We're not taking the law in our own hands. We're not saying to people what it is that they should or not be doing, how to investigate, where to investigate. That's their due diligence to do. That's their heavy lifting that they have to do. All we can do is plead on our knees to stop playing dumb in terms of which children are involved and what they're being subjected to, because that's indefensible. And if law enforcement cannot defend what's being done to kids, they really should be referencing the lawsuit that just got filed against the FBI for having bungled up all of Epstein's so-called sex trafficking situationship that he did have for himself, where law enforcement was informed, where there's tips that were done, provided, evidence, people that came forward, and then everyone still played dumb. In what world does the LAPD think that they're going to be exempt from that type of lawsuit that the FBI is now being sued about? Because again, we're talking about patterns. Why does everything that have to do with a child get bungled? Catholic Church, Boy Scouts, US Gymnastics, Epstein, Scientology. It's like, by all means, US justice system, show us where you actually do apply the law. Because where's the examples of that? Where's the examples of corporate media really being on the right side of history? They're nowhere to be found now. You know, they only covered Jeffrey in the aftermath of the aftermath of the aftermath of the aftermath. So they're never in on the story when it would have mattered for them to break it, when it would have mattered for them to raise a shred of a red flag, given the fact that kids were involved. If Jeffrey and Ghislaine were going to these islands and they were only taking 21 and ups all around to do whatever in the hell they were into, much harder to come in and have to try and save a world there, because then everyone consented, right? Okay, so did y'all not like this? Did y'all not sign consent forms? And I'm sure Ghislaine and Jeffrey were like, oh, NDA here, NDA there. But the problem is not that. The problem is underage kids used and ensnared by these corporations. And it cannot be. It cannot be. And law enforcement is responsible. Even the FBI. I was proud to see that even the FBI is now being held to account. Why did they ignore everything? Why?
Yeah, there's so many, just so many secrets, and people know. I think people know, like the upper people, like you say, Render and all, all these other people lately that have been very controversial, that have been ignoring us and being, I would say, very assholish to us, Headleys, whatever, making very disrespectful comments. And I just, I don't understand, they're kind of treating us
I
like
mean,
we're just little rat, like these little like rat
yeah, but I
kids.
mean, and that's what we're calling out too, right? Because Marissa's like, we're not here to play an infantile game. We don't care. We don't care about how you want to see us. You called us suppressives. You called us degraded beings. You called us that we were covert hostility. You called us every last name in the book. And you know what? It turns out all you were doing was projecting. Everything you call out everyone else about is projecting, because you know what? You're doing that and then 100 times, million times worse. So you go and project on other people without a shred of self-awareness. And that's why none of your shit is sticking anymore. Because again, Marissa, these people have soiled their literal pants in public with diarrhea, the
Mm.
stench that no one can even possibly withstand. And again, just okay, let's just spray a little air freshener, and then all of a sudden everyone forgot. It's like, please, like, we're not kids anymore. We're not here to have these games of tit for tat and you're this and you're that. It's like, don't make this about you. This isn't even about us. This is about kids still stuck in there. And it's 11:11. So on that note, you guys, I'm going to blow out this candle and acknowledge and thank all of you guys for being here. Kyle, thank you for being with us tonight. And shout out to your mom. Shout out to all of you that are here for the truth and to hold space. And thank you, Marissa, for coming on. And we will talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you all extremely soon. Bye bye.
Okay.